And good Thursday evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday evening edition of Weather Warriors, coming to you live from the NBC6 Forecast Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Todd Bourne, here with the details on more heat. You can see today made it to 104, matching the hottest temperature of the summer so far in Shreveport, 103 in Texarkana, the hot spot across the area, 106. And in terms of Weather Warriors, the heat has been our main worry here for the past couple of weeks. We do have a few thunderstorms out there right now that I'll show you here in a second. But most of the Arklatex is experiencing a mostly clear sky. A few minutes ago, I did notice a few sprinkles on the camera there in DeKalb, Texas. So again, things are quieting down, and coming up tonight, I'm going to be giving you an update on what's left of the today's rain. And we do have a few storms which may graze the northeastern edge of the area. I'll show you a pinpoint Doppler here in a second. Looks like the chance of storms will continue tomorrow into the weekend. And then, obviously, during this whole time, if it's not raining, it's going to be hot, and that heat's going to continue through the middle of next week. Then we're going to cool off a little bit as next week, as you'll see that in grain of salt time tonight. And of course, today is Thursday. That means two things. First of all, an update on the drought conditions, as the latest drought monitor was released today. And as I showed you Tuesday, we really hadn't gotten any rain across the Arklatex here in the past week, from last Tuesday to this Tuesday. So we expect to see some worsening, and we got some. I'll show you that. And of course, on Thursday, we get an update from the EPS on the 6-week rainfall outlook, and I'll show you the latest numbers and compare them to what I showed you Monday night. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, either my Facebook page, Todd Warren Weather, or the KTAL News YouTube channel, of course, coming live. If you have a question, feel free to ask away. Just want to say hello. That's great too, as it is tradition to begin the festivities with our hellos. And first on board tonight is Rusty. Good evening, Rusty. Waiting for some rain. Me too, Rusty. Me too. Earlier, it did look like the rain might make it to Texarkana. Now, not so much, at least for today. Gary says hi. Hello there, Gary. Nita says, good evening on this hot and steamy Thursday night. Or as we like to say, Nita, Friday Eve. Yes, it's officially Friday Eve. And Lewis has chimed in and says, good evening, and good evening to you, Lewis. All right, well, let's get going. And first of all, I'll show you the latest with a pinpoint Doppler and put this into motion. And you can see two clusters of thunderstorms, one out here over the northwestern edge of the area. You can see these storms are very quickly wrapping up. And again, this is the little shower that I saw earlier in DeKalb, and a little bit of rain in Foreman. And you can see the dying thunderstorms here in northern Red River County. These storms further to the west probably will stay to the west of our area. And that's pretty much it. We'll be watching for any new development, but it's looking unlikely that will occur. Further to the east, you can see a cluster of thunderstorms, which is moving more southeast. Earlier, it looked like this might impact northern Nevada County. Now, not so much. Betty, if Betty is Betty here tonight? If she chimes in, she might see some of this impact her, although it may miss her to the north and east as well. And that's pretty much it. As we zoom out as far as the rain today, quick look at how much rain has fallen past 24 hours here. Let's see. Let's just do this. And you can see we did see a few spots here. Look at this area here northwest of Hochtown, Oklahoma. The radar indicating that we've received more than 2 inches of rain, 3 inches in that spot. And these darker greens here, we have had a few spots pick up a good inch of rain. So some needed relief over the extreme northern edge of the area. If you folks don't mind, could you please share? That's all I ask. And you can see the amounts of rain falling have dramatically decreased as those storms have decreased here this evening. Brad says, hello, no rain in WCOK. How did you get missed? Brad, I thought for certain you and Aaron were going to get some. Brian, hello. Good evening, Brian. Did I miss you earlier? Usually you're first tonight. Usually you're first, but not tonight, I guess. Aaron says, got thunder, lightning, and wind, but very little rain. 105. Well, that's a good thing. At least it cooled you off. I know Brad is probably happy about that. 105 today, though, in Wright City. And Eric is tuned in from Colbert, Oklahoma. They're near Lake Texoma, and says he made it to 106 today. And he says, Hooray, heat relief is coming. And we'll see if you get some rain, though, Eric. It's not yet set in stone. Nita says, I was just joking with you, Nita. Friday Eve. Yes, that's what we like to say. Oh. Oh, I must have missed it. You know what? You and Rusty must have chimed in at the same time. I mentioned if the comments, the way this is fed into what I'm watching it on, again, if there's a tie, it's random. So I apologize, Brian. Congratulations on being first. All right, let's take a look at the weather pattern. And you can see the upper level ridge still centered over the four corners. We do have this trough here, and this northwesterly flow is pushing a frontal system southward. That front triggered the scattered showers and thunderstorms that we've had across the area today. It's probably not going to make a whole lot of progress to the south. You can see that moving into tomorrow, we will see the threat of storms shift into perhaps the southern sections of the Arklatex, if this outlook from SPC is correct. And then another area of strong to severe storms across the Midwest. So put this in motion. You can see the front itself is not really going to move very much, but nonetheless, we will see more scattered activity develop tomorrow. More widespread rains probably to the south and east of the Arklatex tomorrow. And then here comes a second front that is going to push southward, and it's going to try to make it here, but chances are it's not. As you can see, it stalls. And once we get past Saturday, it looks like we're going to be relatively dry across the Arklatex, probably through the first half of next week. Some models hinting at a chance for a little bit of rain Sunday night into Monday. We'll see. And then towards the end of next week, we may see our next shot. And you can see some of that rain here late Sunday night into Monday morning. Futurecast indicating, and then heading into Monday, that should be pretty much it. Donna says, I'm getting pretty hot these days. I'm sorry, Donna. Again, stay tuned for grain of salt time. I think you'll like the trend that you'll see in the European ensembles, and there are more models coming in line with what the European has been hinting at here over the last couple of days. Okay, Brian. Yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at Futurecast up close, and we'll take you through the next several days through Monday. And you can see the currents. Actually, this is the HRRR through the nighttime hours tonight. You can see the current storms. As I mentioned, they are already happening. They will weaken. We'll see maybe some high clouds spread to the south tonight. Tomorrow, look at Futurecast here locally, and you can see it does show the scattered activity popping up near or north of Interstate 20 during the basically middle of the afternoon. That activity will spread to the south. There is a low-end chance that one or two of these could produce some wind issues. The afternoon run of the HRRR showed the very same spot for the initiation, but showed the storms to be a little bit stronger. So again, we could have some issues with wind. You can see Saturday, the scattered activity will mainly be focused over East Texas and Northwest Louisiana. So Texarkana, Hope, you've been missed by the rain today. It looks like it may develop to your south tomorrow and stay to your south. So it's possible you may miss out, at least with the rain here in the next couple of days. Then heading into Saturday night will be dry. Sunday, pretty much dry with lots of sunshine. Heading through Sunday night, you can see the scattered showers here across the northern parts of the Arklatex that may try to spread to the south during the day on Monday. And that's pretty much it as far as the rainfall. Again, we'll have the chance tomorrow, Saturday, and maybe some Sunday night into Monday. All right, so that's what it looks like in the short term, being the next 4 days. Let's switch to grain of salt time, where we take you out a couple weeks, and we'll begin with a look at the tropics. And again, this is the latest 7-day outlook from the National Hurricane Center, and it shows no air. Actually, there's one yellow area up here in the northern Atlantic, which we won't be too concerned about, but it does look rather quiet here in the intertropical conversion zone, which is where these storms tend to initialize and get going here in the Atlantic. So it does look relatively quiet for the next week. And you can see one reason in that spot there, we still have the wind shear that I've been pointing out. Notice the lack of shear here further to the northwest, okay? Because the GFS and the European are showing a disturbance coming off of Africa here the next 2 weeks that may be worth watching. I don't think it's going to make it into the Gulf, but let's take a look at the next two models, which would give us any indication of any development. You might recall yesterday or the night before, the GFS had a storm coming off and went ballistic with it. It's now no longer doing that. And you can see it heading through. This is the first week. By this time next week, we may see, you can see the storm here or the low here with the European. The yellow lines are the GFS, so that's there. So both models do show something, and both models do develop it, although the European is a little bit further to the north. This would be next Friday, take you through next weekend and into the beginning of the following week. And you can see still both models do have it, but not very much development with this here. And if you're wondering about this up here, that's probably not tropical. This looks like a frontal zone to me, so I don't think that's going to be anything to worry about. And you can see that the GFS dissipates that system. The European does begin to strengthen it as it more than likely, if it does develop, will move between the East Coast and Bermuda. But it is something worth watching as we close out August and head into September. Again, this is just a couple of models, just pointing out something to keep an eye on as a possibility. All right, let's switch back to the focus here at home, and you can see weather across the country that we have the big upper level ridge out west. It's going to stay out west, although we will try to see it, try to nudge more towards the east here towards the end of the weekend. Now, to point out here, notice if you might recall, let me do the point. I want to make a point here. I want to put this back and bring this back. Notice how dark the reds are here beneath this ridge, and compare that to when I get to the end of the first week. So you can see, first of all, how far north the orange goes, and then watch what happens as we go through the next couple of weeks. So the ridge starts to weaken, especially during the last half of next week. You can kind of see the orange lightening up a bit. That's that ridge weakening just a touch. And with this northwesterly flow, it's possible that we could have another shot for some rain during the last half of next week. And go to week 2, and again, 2 different products. So the colors of the orange are different. That's why. It's not because of the strength. But you'll see the difference here. Watch how this ridge kind of gets squashed southward more and more as we move out of August into the beginning of September. So once we cool off a little bit late next week, it looks like we will stay relatively cooler than what we've seen during the last couple of weeks. All right. And what's eventually going to happen is one of these lows is going to carve this thing out. We're going to see a pretty good surge of cool air, although there's no sign of that happening here in the next couple of weeks. All right. So that being said, let me move on and talk details here as we begin with rainfall, burn bans. I failed to add, I thought I did that. I failed to add Little River here to this. I did it on an earlier version of this, but I didn't put it in this sequence. But Little River County, as I think Renee mentioned last night, was added. And so that's the only addition that we've had today. So now all of Southwest Arkansas is under a burn ban. So let's show you the drought. This is last week's drought monitor. And you're going to see the grays go away. So all of us will have some level of drought, or do have, and the beiges will expand. So this is this week's drought monitor last week, this week. So you can see the worsening really most distinct here across East Texas and Northwest Louisiana. Go back one more time. And really Northwest Louisiana, we've seen things get quite a bit drier quicker. And we also have the level 2 moderate drought over the northern edge of there. Today's rain will help this, though. Again, I showed you this part of the Arklatex received in some spots more than an inch, which of course is good news. All right, let's move on. And since we're talking about rain, show you the short term. This is the next 4 days from Futurecast, and this paints a pretty good picture of what will probably happen. Most of us will not see much at all. Notice that Futurecast does show a scattering of these blue areas here. The light blue that I'm pointing at, that's 1/4 to 1/2. The dark blue is 1/2 to 1 inch. The greens are 1 inch. So obviously the heavier rains will miss us to the east, but we could see a few scatter locations that maybe pick up that 1/4 to 1/2 an inch here in the next 4 days. This will take us through Monday. Take it through next Thursday. Actually, this is the HRRR. I just wanted to show this in here to compare the two. And you can see it also has quite a few zeros, so it's possible you stay totally dry. And also the scattering of the darker blues. So again, we will have the scattered quarter to maybe an inch with, again, a few isolated 1-inch totals as a possibility. I'm not too convinced about this area here. We'll see if the 0Z run of the ACRRR shows the same thing. It just seems like too much of an anomaly to me, so I could be wrong. But nonetheless, expect not much, hope for a 1/2 inch. That's pretty much the rule. And this is the 7-day outlook, excuse me, from the Weather Prediction Center, and it's showing, again, the lighter greens here. That's a 1/2 inch. So eastern half of the area, there's a decent shot you may get that 1/2 inch here in the next week, which would take us from now through next Thursday. Now, keep in mind, it's looking possible that we could see, as I mentioned, some more Monday, which Futurecast would take into account, and then we could see some more next Thursday. So that may be why these numbers are a little bit higher than what you saw with the Futurecast. This is the blended models, which goes out 10 days. This will take us through next weekend. And you can see this color of blue, that's a quarter to a half. So if this is correct, most of the area will get at least a 1/4 inch, and we'll have a few scattered 1/2 inch to an inch totals. All right, so that's what it looks like for the next 10 days. Amanda has chimed in, says almost 9 p.m. here in East Texas, and it's still sweltering out there. Yeah, you can see right there, it's 92 in Marshall, 97 in Mount Pleasant. And my Tempest rain gauge, Amanda says, it's 93 in my house. And you can see goose eggs on the rain too, which is not surprising. I didn't expect to see it much today. All right, let's take you out 2 weeks here, and you can see how we'll play this today is throughout the low and throughout the high, and expect what's left. So the range here in DeQueen, a 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4. In Texarkana, 1/2 inch to maybe an inch. Shreveport looks like around a 1/2 inch. Natchitoches looks like a 1/2 inch to an inch. So generally speaking, 1/2 inch to an inch is about a 1/2 inch. If we get the inch, it's a 1/2 inch below normal. So it's looking pretty certain that we're going to see below normal rainfall here for the next 2 weeks. Update you on the next 6 weeks. And again, this is a continuation of Monday's outlook that I shared with you then. And of course, we're pretty much done with this first column, and this is going to verify. The good news is that the European ensembles here now showing normal rainfall for the last week of August, and then we stay pretty close to normal during the rest of the 6-week period, which would take us through pretty much the rest of September. So it looks like we'll see near or slightly below normal rainfall for the month of September. All right, so what does this mean as far as amounts? Well, you might recall that Monday that I pointed out that during this 6-week period, which includes this week, Shreveport averages 4.4 inches. And Monday, the EPS ensembles showed these numbers, okay? Let me show you what the update that came out today shows. Most of the locations, the numbers have gone down. These numbers represent what you just saw, okay, from Monday's outlook. So DeQueen fell from 3.4 to 3.1. Idabel fell. Texarkana the same. Marshall the same. Shreveport, the only one that maybe get a little bit more, close to 3 inches, and look down a little bit in Minden and Natchitoches. And again, this black line is about 4.4. So we're going to be a little bit below normal here for the next 6 weeks. And much of that deficit has already occurred, basically this week. So one thing that may change this is really, I don't think the ensembles tend to don't see the small scale stuff like we're going to be getting the spotty stuff. So this could be a bit underdone depending on if you get hit or missed, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Amanda says she's in Queen City. Well, I think Texarkana is going to pop up there. You're probably pretty close to Texarkana, Amanda. The humidity is the worst part. We did see it go down a little bit here recently, a little bit of an uptick here in the last couple of days. And if you get some rain, you'll notice a bit more humidity as well, obviously, as that moisture in the ground is going to evaporate and contribute to the relative humidity. All right, let's switch to temperatures. And you can see that this is the I was considering not even showing you the GFS ensembles because they're so much different. But you can see in the next several days, probably through Wednesday, and this is very similar to what my forecast shows. Temperatures, I have 103 for tomorrow, pretty close to 100 through Wednesday. And then notice we kind of sag into the middle 90s. Not a huge cool down, but 94 is going to be normal. So we're going to try to get back closer to normal here during the end of next week, and we probably will stay there through September 3rd. Overnight lows shows no surge of drier air coming this way, as lows will stay pretty much in the mid to upper 70s, minus a few mornings with 80s as a possibility. GFS ensembles been running hot all summer. I may start subtracting from the highs from this, to be honest with you, just because they are too hot. But anyway, you can see the trend is the same, a little bit of a cool down. If you go from the hottest here, it's about the same. So it may be just starting too warm. And then notice once we cool off, we level off. So I don't think we'll see 2 weeks of triple digits. I think, we'll start to see some relief next week. And I don't know where the 71 for Saturday came from. That's probably too cool, but nonetheless, you can see mid to upper 70s for lows for the next 2 weeks. So again, a little bit of relief temperature-wise, especially during the day on the way, but nothing really to get excited about. We're just trying to get back to normal for this time of year. All right, let's move on and show you your forecast for tonight, as the storms over the northern parts of the Arctic are already beginning to wrap up. That process will continue. We'll see, again, probably upper 70s there, 79 degrees in Shreveport, 78 degrees in Marshall, 77 in Natchitoches, as I doubt we'll see any rain in East Texas and Northwest Louisiana tonight. Tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms return, and rainfall chances probably highest over the southern half of the area tomorrow. 101 degrees for the high in Texarkana, 102, Amanda, 102 tomorrow there in Atlanta, which is your neighbor. 103 degrees in Magnolia. And further to the south, you can notice the rainfall probability is a little bit higher, especially down towards Manny and Natchitoches. 103 in Shreveport, same thing in Minden and Natchitoches. 103 also in Marshall. As when it's not raining, we're going to have some sunshine, so it's going to be hot and very humid. Once again, we do have a heat advisory in place for tomorrow. And your 10-day forecast shows that we will see, again, the chance of rain continue through Saturday. Again, these probabilities are for Shreveport. This 10% probably a bit higher farther south for Saturday. Another chance Sunday night and Monday, and then towards the end of next week. Notice the cool down by next weekend, highs back down to 96. Overnight lows could eventually settle into the middle 70s. Well, that will officially do it for me tonight. Big B came in a little early tonight, so he's going to miss it unless he comes back in here, which he might. But anyway, he once told me that, or he actually asked me a question. He said, "Chief, my nephew, he won't eat fish. What can I replace it with?" I said, "A cat. Cat loves fish. Cats love fish." I can't talk tonight. Well, that'll officially do it for me tonight, folks. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Obviously, I won't be here Friday, which is normal. Unless we have some strong storms, I may jump on for a quick update on Facebook and YouTube, but that's looking unlikely at this point by the time we get to this point. Moon, you're quite welcome, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it. So again, I'll be back on Monday, more than likely, with another live update. More details. Of course, we'll take you out deeper into September. We're going to start seeing and looking for that cool down that we're waiting for. We'll see if we see it come Monday. So until then, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Keep your fingers crossed for that rain. And if you're out and about over the next couple of days, be sure to stay cool. Good night.